So someone sent me $1 and they're asking a ridiculous question like, what are you going to do after you're done with YouTube and all of that, because you don't have any 401k or retirement or anything? Well, first of all, you have no idea what I have, right? You don't. You're assuming. I mean, I had no money when I had a bankruptcy 3 years ago. The good news is, I'm hoping to maintain and get better and improve my position over the years. And hopefully, eventually, I will be able to be putting stuff aside if I'm not already, which is none of your business if I am or not. But like I said, definitely with what I've seen, it seems like no matter what I do on YouTube, I know that I have a fan base. It doesn't matter if we're playing a video game, if I'm doing a podcast where I'm ranting about a topic or talking about news or whatever, if I'm doing React style content now, which has now become a part of my repertoire, or if we're just kind of chilling and doing Q&A, like no matter what I'm doing, I've got a fan base, and that fan base likes me and likes my content and supports it. So even though you might argue, okay, well, you're 41, you're getting older, well, how long will we be a YouTuber? Well, I don't have to be a gamer YouTuber. I could do anything on YouTube. Or another site, all the competition that's been popping up recently. I could do this essentially, my life, And one day, of course, you always have that expectation that maybe one day I can retire and I'll have enough of a nest egg or whatever that I don't have to make daily content anymore. That would be great to be able to actually, retire a bit and spend time with my wife. But, that's something to think about for the future. I'm only a few years removed from a bankruptcy. I've got to maintain the course. I've got to keep going, plugging away, keep doing the things better than I used to, right? And essentially get myself to a more financially feasible, healthy position. And once I'm there, right, and I get a credit that's built back up, maybe I can do some things with financing and stuff that'll make my life better. And once I get to that point, then you start thinking about, do I want to change it up? Do I not want to be a full-time gamer anymore? Do I want to diversify my time, do different kinds of content, reach out and do different collaborations and things? Right now is not the time for that. Right now, things, I got to maintain the course of what I'm doing. And I've already, kind of struck out this year or reached out this year with new content, trying something new with DSP Reacts, which is, it's there. It's slow, but it's still existing and it is profitable. I feel like in time it will grow and get better. It's something that I have to get better at and find better content for over time, right? But to me, it's just like, from my perspective, I'm not like, oh, well, I just have to quit YouTube. Like, that's crazy. No, but potentially, like I've told you guys, I've enjoyed being my own boss for so long. I absolutely, positively could be someone who continues to make content of some capacity forever. It just doesn't have to be a full-time capacity, right? Instead of being the guy who's here 6 days a week full-time playing video games and podcasting, I could be the guy who part-time is doing discussion shows and podcasting and current events and news discussions, and maybe every once in a while casually dabbling in a video game here or there that I really enjoy, but it's not necessarily my full-time thing forever. You know what I'm saying? But again, those things, here's what I found. If you are someone who can sit down at any point in your life and you can look and say, in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, here's my plan and I'm sticking to it, you are living a life of luxury. You're living a life of insulation. For the vast majority of my life, I have never known what was going to be happening in just a year or two, let alone 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. Take a look at my life. Just look back 5 years before today, right? How different and tumultuous my life was. Another 5 years. Every 5 years, my life is completely changed. So how anyone has this crazy luxury of saying, I'm going to plot out my life, and in 20 years, I'll have a 401k that's fully funded. I'll be able to retire nicely and not make YouTube videos and do that. That's a crazy luxury in life. Seriously. Like, you're lucky if you're able to do that. Be happy that your parents probably provided you with financial stability in your youth so you could get an education, you could go out and get a great job, and you could have a family right away, and you have stability and all that. A lot of people on this planet don't have that. I've never had that. In my entire life, I've never had that stability. It's always something fluctuating, uncertain, weird, and different. I didn't choose that life. That's the life that I stumbled into, and the cards that I was dealt, and I'm just doing the best with what's handed to me. You understand? I wish that I could tell you that, yes, I have a 20-year plan that by the time I'm in my early 60s, I have a fully funded 401k and I could stop making YouTube videos entirely and right off into the sunset of retirement. It's not possible right now. Long term, yes, maybe. Right now, I'm just trying to get to the point where I'm stable every month. I'm paying all of my stuff. I'm not behind on anything. And I have enough flexibility so that if something goes wrong, like my car breaks down or my fucking tire gets stolen, right? Or I get something breaks in the house or a piece of equipment breaks, I need to quickly replace it, that I have the flexibility to do that right away. Once I'm to that point, then you can look and say, oh, maybe now I have a little bit extra every month I can put aside for something, right? But right now, I wish I had that. I'm not even to that point of just even Steven before I can start looking to say, oh, there's extra to put aside now. Do you understand? Okay, I hope that makes sense. Well, I've got another dollar tip. This doesn't even make sense. Since you're crowdfunded, you have to always depend on people, even if you stop playing games. What could you do to make money for yourself, but also not have to be crowdfunded? Nothing. Literally everything in life is crowdfunding. Literally everything. But if you have your own business, you rely on the customers to come fund your business and buy your product. If you work for a company, you rely on that company to provide a workplace and employment and work to do. Everything is always dependent on something else. There's literally nothing on planet Earth that's 100 dependent on yourself. Doesn't exist. Unless you're a hermit and you live in the fucking woods and you're chopping the trees down and you're eating squirrels off the tree. But even then, you're dependent on the tree to be there and stay healthy and the squirrel to be there to eat. It just doesn't exist. You're living a fantasy life. Really. You're living a fantasy world. Doesn't exist. What you're saying is a myth perpetrated by people who like to feel safe on this planet, when in reality, there's no such thing as safety. Because at any moment, the sun could go supernova and we're all dead. So there's no safety. Space aliens could come down and liquefy us all with a gun in 5 seconds. There's nothing we can do. In life, nothing's certain. No safety. Stop that ridiculous feeling right now. Oh, but what are you going to do to insulate yourself? You can't insulate yourself, ever. Doesn't exist.